Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Washington, D.C., it's Quintessential Listening, Poetry Online Radio. QLPOR, as it's widely known, features a bevy of poets, spoken word artists, and live poetry readings with best-selling authors. Your host is Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the program. Tonight, for your quintessential listening pleasure, poet Derrick Davis is here. The title of his new book is Seedtime and Harvest, Volume 1. The book is an empowering collection of spoken word poetry that will captivate the spirit. Welcome, Derrick.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
All right. I'm going to get you to speak up just a little bit, all right? Speak up just a little bit for me.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
That's all right. That's okay. No problem. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes. Yes. All right. Let's begin this poetic journey. Are you ready?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right. All right. What is poetry, Derrick? What is poetry to you?
Poetry to me, my definition of poetry is just an artistic expression of thought. Everybody have their different style of poetry. My favorite style is spoken word. That's where the style of poetry that I write in the most. But you know, poetry. Some people rhyme, some people don't. I like to rhyme, but it's just an expression of art through words.
All right, expression of art through words. Why is it important, Derrick? Why is poetry important?
Well, poetry is important because it's as with art, it's an outlet. It's an outlet for the artist, and it's also an outlet for the listener. Whether it's an escape from their problems or their situation, or whether it is a coping mechanism for their problems or situations. Either way, it's therapeutic to the writer and to the listener.
Very much so. I agree. Now, you share spoken word poetry. What exactly is spoken word poetry to you? Because it means so many different things to so many different people. What is spoken word poetry to you, my friend?
Well, to me, spoken word poetry, it has a cadence that is kind of similar to hip hop in the cadence of the speaking, and it can. And it's kind of like hip hop without the beat, and it's more or less like, to me, it kind of, even for those maybe older heads that grew up on hip hop like myself, where they feel like hip hop has lost its message. Spoken word has the message, and it's only the message. You can you put spoken word to a beat? You certainly can, but at the core of it, you're going to have a message, and that's what I feel like spoken word is. It has that cadence.
All right, very nice, very nice. Please share a poem.
The first poem I'm gonna share is a poem about manhood. Well, just me reflecting on manhood and just seeing, reflecting on my journey and my life and to where I've come to, and all these poems in this book is about, the revelation that God has given to me. And so the first poem I'm going to do is called "Being the Man." And it goes, manhood is a journey, and in that journey, there's lots of lesson learned. It's a destination that every male is chasing with desperation, but there's only a few that do any contemplating on the expectations of manhood. Instead, most rather fill their head with plans on being the man, but what they don't understand is that conception was formed from deception. What they see is not reality, it's just their perception. Satan is manipulating their observations, their fantasies are just a mirage, but this type of light refraction occurs from self-satisfaction. That type of person exalts himself as an idol god. He and he alone sits on the throne of his heart, and it doesn't matter who gets scarred in the process. Watch closely, and you'll see lives just falling apart. It started with broken homes, but it won't be long before that life becomes his own, because he will reap what he has sown. But a real man has his own because his priority is his responsibility at home. He has no time to be wasted building reputation. A real man will be a man in any situation he's facing. The consequences for every mistake he makes, and to him, excuses are useless. He persists until he gets results, and he fights the hardest when he's back against the ropes. Manhood is a journey, and it takes ambition to complete the mission, but manhood is not a competition. Some seek to compete all they can, trying to be the man who had the most sex, who cashed the biggest checks. Others use the threat of violence to get respect, but a real man gets his respect by coming correct. His manhood doesn't need a spotlight. He does what's right, even if there's not a spectator in sight. Your manhood can't be validated by being affiliated with any group of people. See, you one day going to have to travel that journey alone. And when you do it, to let your ego know who really belongs on the throne of your heart is God, the perfect role model to follow. His guiding light will bring everything they need to change into plain sight. But until then, things will remain the same, and it's a shame. Some only aim to get their name clout for some type of fame. But as soon as the responsibility came, they was out. Let me make this clear for every male here who's about to go that route. Please understand that being the man doesn't necessarily make you a man. That's it. That's the end.
Wow. Being the man doesn't necessarily make you the man. It's a powerful line. Also, that manhood is a journey. It's not a destination, like you're saying, because you're constantly, continually on the path to understand who you are in terms of being a man, just in terms of being a human being in general. So let's go back for a second. Tell me about what inspired Seedtime and Harvest. What was the inspiration for the book?
Well, it's kind of funny how the book came about, and that's why I say that it's my walk with God, because at the time I really didn't know where God was taking me. A lot of the poems I started when I first returned, gave my life to Christ, or when I say like the word escaped me right now. When I first rededicated my life to Christ, that's what I want to say. Rededicated. I like to say rededicated because I was raised in the Christian household with the Christian faith, and I strayed. So I rededicated. Once I rededicated myself, I've always been a writer at heart. And so a lot of times going through my trials and tribulations, there have been times I didn't have cable. There have been times, I didn't have money to go nowhere. And so in my broken place, I would be stuck at home or stranded. And it forced me to be still. And at that time, when I was forced to be still, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have the distractions of, partying and flipping and running and all of that kind of stuff. So it forced me to, to get my pen and paper and just start reflecting and writing. I remember Maya Angelou. I was looking at her on TV one time, and she said something that I would never forget. She said one sentence. She said, "A writer reflects." and that always resonated with me. And so that's what and through that time, I was just piecing those poems together, and then I just seen my journey as far as, maturing with God and the things that God was showing me and explaining to me. And it just felt like I felt the growth in me, and to manifest the things to change my situation to where now I have money to go. I could, if I really wanted to go out and party, I have money to do it, but I'd rather stay home and spend that time with God, And so it's kind of funny in that way. And so I like the revelation and the wisdom and the knowledge that he gives, and so that's the book. When I go into the first poem is the contents of Christ, and it's just it's content. It's content with the contents of Christ, and I speak about that with first starting off just being satisfied to where God has you at your particular time, where you at now, being happy with where you at. We all would rather be, somewhere else. I would love to be flying in a Lear jet all over the world, but I'm happy with where God has me at now because He's supplying all of my needs. And then, it goes to being a man as from my perspective as an African-American male. And then I have another poem. The next poem is Why Be a Trophy When You're a Crown? And it talks about how I view women and how I believe women should view themselves. And then then I have another poem, God is Love, as far as, how I believe that we should put God first in dating, and then struggle for humanity. The next one is struggle for humanity, for the struggle that we go that I go through as a black male and black people go through in general, and that's as the poem, and I bring up those titles to kind of let you see how it walks you through, you know what I'm saying, from this situation to this situation to that situation. And so as you read the book, it takes you deeper and deeper into, the journey that I'm going on. And then, it gets to why I worship God, and it goes deep, more in depth. And then I got volume 1 because I want to come back to this, and then, Lord bless me to do another book. I want to come back and to that and go even more in depth. And
all right, very nice. Very nice. You've covered a lot of ground. I'd like to know more about the title, Seedtime and Harvest. What does that mean? Tell me more. Tell me everything.
Well, I forgot to say this. Another reason why I called it Seedtime and Harvest is because of my grandmother. Rest in peace, Delphine Graham. When I was young, I was like 18, 19. I was having a personal situation in my family. So, with my, coming from a broken home, so I asked my aunt, could I live with her? So I left from Charlotte, North Carolina, where I was born and raised. I went to stay in Gastonia with my aunt. And I called her, asked her, could I go? She said, yes. So I stayed up there. And one morning I was in my bed sleeping, and my grandma, Big Mama, she cooked breakfast, and she woke me up. She said, get up. I cooked breakfast for you. Hurry up and eat it before it get cold. Now Big Mama could cook. Big Mama could cook very well, So I didn't want to miss nothing she was cooking. And I get up, I cook. I get up, I eat. She don't cook. grits and put the cheese on the plate and pull the grits on top of the cheese. I got the omelet sitting. I mean, the breakfast was banging. What little did I know, their mama planned on putting me in that garden in the backyard, and she worked every bit of food that I ate out of me. And so I planted my first garden. I learned what I know about garden from my grandma. And then when I rededicated my life to Christ, I started seeing how Jesus was teaching about sowing and reaping. And then, I always thought back to my grandma. And so part of this book is dedication to her memory, and for her having me out there. So when she had me out there in that garden, she planted a seed to this book. And the title, Seedtime and Harvest, comes from Noah. When Noah got off the ark, he made a sacrifice to God. And when he made a sacrifice to God, the Bible said that God thought within himself. He said, I won't destroy the earth by flood no more. He said, from now on it's going to be winter, spring, summer, and fall, and seed time and harvest. And so seed time and harvest is how the world works. It's God's order of doing things. So I believe it's the way of manifesting in the earth. And so you have to go through that process in order to get to manifest whatever it is that you want. And that's
all right.
Where I come
from. Okay. Tell me a little bit about the process for developing or creating the book cover. It's quite scenic. Very nice.
Well, okay. The book cover is kind of it's kind of the background to. It's not an exact replica, but it's kind of the feel of where my grandma stayed. She lived in when my grandparents were sharecroppers. They were sharecroppers, and then once they got, I guess they got enough money, or got jobs or whatever, they got enough money to buy their own land. And when they bought their own land, you know anything about, just for the your viewers, not making any assumptions, but to know anything about history. In that, like the early 1900s or whatever, around that time, or a lot of the blacks was getting the land that was closer to the river or to the creek or whatever, because when that land flood, then you would have to deal with it. So, my grandma had a old house, about that ran from that was stayed by the creek that ran off the Catawba River. So this is when I say a creek. This ain't like a little stream. It's current. You can hear the water like, we used to fish out of it. But it's kind of like it gives you that feel. It's not an exact replica, but it gives you that feel. And she had a garden, like on the left side of the cover. She had a garden. That garden might have been at least half an acre. I mean, just off a rough estimate.
All right.
It was a real garden, and so that it's kind of old to that. And she had an outhouse, and I'm not an old guy. I'm still kind of young, but most people my age didn't live. That type of life. And so I was going from Charlotte to that. You know what I'm saying? So I was seeing kind of both sides of society and how to live.
Well, I understand your story because my grandparents lived in Ridgeway, South Carolina, and growing up I had to slop hogs and work in the garden, all those things. So I truly understand. Now, when you think about your book and writing it, what did you learn about yourself in the process? Who are you as a consequence of writing your book?
Who am I? That's a good question. I guess I found out that like I think you said it earlier that you're evolving. And about when we was talking about the manhood earlier, and about the evolving and the evolving and the evolution. I feel like I'm just like I just want to be like my daddy, my God, my Father in heaven, more than anything else. And that's what I found. You know, that's what poured out of me. You know, as far as just writing. You know, I mean, I like R&B and stuff like that, but this is what was weighing more heavily on my heart. Like I said, when I was writing, I didn't really sit with an idea like I'm gonna write this book. It was just like how I felt in the moment, you know, and reflect. And so I just write that poem, and then I keep it, and then I, you know, be in another moment, and then I write another poem, and I keep it. And before I knew it, I had a collection. And
wow, very nice.
And it's
very nice.
Yeah, and you know, and so I just feel like you know, I learned to myself is that the prepare. You know, Seedtime and Harvest is about preparation. You can't wait for the opportunity and then prepare for it. You got to prepare for the opportunity before the opportunity comes. You know, I had no idea how to publish a book. I didn't have no idea who a publisher, you know, or what publisher to go to, you know. But I was writing just out of the passion of love for poetry and writing, just out of love writing. And in that, when the opportunity came to publish the book, I was ready. I had something offer, you know, and that's something I learned is to always prepare. You know, even if you don't have an opportunity, prepare for it.
Well, I'd like you to share another poem.
Yes, sir. Okay. I guess I'll do. Why be a trophy when you are a crown? Why be a trophy when you are a crown? Do you settle for less just so you won't be let down? Women often feel pressed to look their best. They contest for conquest, but realize you're a prize that's worth the strive, and there's more to you than what meets the eye. Take pride on what's on the inside, because there's no other guide to where destiny can be found. So why be a trophy when you are a crown? The reason may be the life of a trophy can be pleasing, but be cautious in your believing. The trophy life is the season. The glory doesn't last but a season. A crown is in the class by itself. A trophy sits on the shelf with everything else. The disrespect of neglect will reveal the difference between being satisfied and being fulfilled. Being pleasured doesn't measure to being treasured, because anything anyone treasures, they keep safe and sound. Ladies, life is full of ups and downs. Find a man who can stand his ground. You deserve someone who will always be around. So why be a trophy when you are a crown? The older I got, the more I found that everything is connected. If you detect it, you understand how you are affected by what have you bound and how to correct it. Women are accustomed to placing how they look above how they feel. from tight shirts to tight skirts to high heels. They spend a large portion of their pay along with the bulk of the day to look a certain way. So in the subliminals of those individuals, it becomes ritual to maintain the visual in every situation, whether critical or trivial. But how you are seen doesn't matter as much as how you are esteemed. Even if you're alone, you still belong on the throne. You can treat yourself like a queen. You are a royal treasure beyond measure. Nevertheless, your standard for a gesture. Who demeans simply because he can't handle the pressure of being the king. The mere fact that you are God's chosen portal for his beloved mortals alone is reason enough for any man to adore you. In the Bible, God refers to the church as his bride. What do you think he would decide to be the best gift to provide when his kingdom come down from heaven? There won't be any trophies found. So why be a trophy when you are a crown? And that's the end of that one.
All right. Why be a trophy when you are a crown? What is the purpose of that particular poem? What were you attempting to say, to share?
I was tempted. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was attempting to say that, that's how a woman should view. I feel a woman should view herself. Because a lot of I know women have pressure to be, with all the magazines and all the social media and all the reality shows to look flawless. And even though it's not real as far as what's on the magazines and the TVs and all that, that's not real, but the expectation is still there. And I feel like that, that a woman should see her validation within herself and not need it from other people,
All right.
And once she value herself, then she would that would be the treatment that she would expect, and that would she wouldn't settle for anything other than that,
All right. And I agree 100%. Listening to you, it sounds like your book that there's a lot of emotion involved in writing it, as well as the poems themselves. And my question to you is, Derrick, do you think someone can be called a poet if they don't feel strong emotions?
That's I don't want to. To me, Derrick, another person expression is their expression. For me, it happens to be that, strong emotions or how I feel. But to me, poetry, I like to write with, whatever's inside me, whether that's emotion or whether it's just perspective. But I think poetry is really just a perspective, of a person. Pimps are poets in a way, because they, if you listen to a pimp talk, they very poetic with their words, but they're not emotional. They cold-hearted, But I think it's just a perspective, and the perspective can be good, it could be bad, it could be, just reality. Your perspective could just be like the news, where you just report what's there, and you don't, what I'm saying? But I think so. I don't think it's a requirement, but I think it.
All right.
Emotions connect with people on the deeper level.
Okay. Well, very nice, very nice. I'd like to go back again to your childhood, if you started writing during your childhood. But what I want to know is, what was an early experience where you learned that poetic language had power? Where did you learn that it had power?
I mean, to me, just watching hip hop, I felt like it told me that poetic language had power. When I seen the growth, how it grew, when I seen the when Public Enemy and KRS-One and X-Clan had the pro-black movement, and then everybody was, wearing, Africa medallions and, with the pro-black movement. And then I seen, NWA and Ghetto Boys and other gangster rappers come in with the gangster movement. And then I seen people, want to be drug dealers and glorifying drug dealers. And then I just seen it's the power. When I seen the power of that, how, hip hop could just change, how it just came from nothing as far as the poverty. I mean, the state of Black America in the 80s with the crack epidemic, and for hip hop to be birthed out of that, and to have so much influence that is still, influential today, right to this day, and the marketing from it is in the multi-billion. That's the first time I've seen the power of poetry.
All right. Yes, I mean, the hip-hop movement changed life of a lot of people, changed the world, the way people think, the way that you can express yourself. You mentioned Maya Angelou earlier, and all great writers have great writing influences. Who are some of yours, and what makes them great in your eyes?
Well, to be honest with you, I like that Maya Angelou with the really the first time I seen her was they put the Still I Can Rise on the Coca-Cola commercial.
Yes.
That's the first time I had seen, and so I always respected her work. And in high school, I remember a teacher made us memorize a poem by Robert Frost, Two Roads Diverged in the Yellow Woods. And it was a poem about the path, traveling your own path through life.
Yes.
And that stuck with me. But growing up in the hip hop culture, my favorite rapper was always Ice Cube. To me, because like I said, my grandparents was living, in the country and in Mount Holland, and I was growing up in Charlotte, and so I was, growing up in the hood in Charlotte and whatever, and then before NWA, I seen like LL Cool J and Big Daddy Kane. I liked it, all of them. You know what I'm saying? I liked it, but we ain't had no Dapper Dan jacket. You know what I'm saying? With the Gucci emblem on the back. So that kind of seems, because New York is so far from where I'm from. So you know what I'm saying, I liked it and I was feeling it, but it didn't look like my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But when I seen NWA and I seen Ghetto Boys, I kind of identified with it because it looked like where I'm from, you know. And Ice Cube, he was always very vivid, a vivid writer where you could see what he was saying. I remember when Tupac got killed, and Stretch wrote this song called "Mourn You Till I Join You." And when I listened to that song, man, I never met Tupac, I never met Stretch, but listening to that song, it was like I was hanging with them, like I was part of the crew. You know what I'm saying? And that's the writing that influenced and inspired me is when, you know, it's a person I ain't never met. It's a person I don't know nothing about, but it's like I'm kicking it with them, like I'm in their world. You know, and that's what that's. Go ahead.
You know, a poem can make you feel that way too. Yeah, and poetry is music, but a poem can make you feel like you're hanging with somebody, that you're right there as you are processing and taking in what they've shared with you. I can see that 100%. I really, really can. You know, there's an image, Derrick, of poets being overcome with inspiration and having to write everything out of nowhere and at once. Does this ever happen to you, man? Does this ever happen to you? Just to write everything at once?
Sometimes it does, but then I've developed my own little way of like writing out my little outline for where I'm gonna go. Cause you know to deal with the cause I still work a regular 9 to 5. I hadn't manifested to being a full time writer yet, so I still work from 9 to 5. I still have to do my other stuff day to day as far as going to church and as far as trying to handle other responsibilities that I have to take care of. And so I figured out a way of where I could keep my thought process on track to where I could, if I have to leave the book, leave the poem for a second, and then come back, I could come back later and, pick up where I left off without really losing the train of thought. But there's been times that I sat down. There's been time I sat down and wrote a couple of poems flat out, straight all the way through. But sometimes I kind of like to take a break and reflect on what I just wrote because I don't want to, because sometimes like when you talk, you get rambling and get off the point. So sometimes I like to stop writing and reflect to make sure I'm on subject and I didn't ramble too far. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Before we take a quick break, I'd like to ask you the following. Let's imagine for a moment that a poem is like a cake, or a cake is like a poem, either one of those. And there are ingredients that are involved in terms of making that cake. What are some of the ingredients involved when you write a poem? What do you put into it?
Well, I put in, I put in prayer.
All right. Very important. What else?
I put passion in there.
Okay. All right.
And I put in my perspective. How this is
yes.
how I see
yes.
Right. And so if it ain't true to nobody else, it's true to me because this is the way I'm looking at it.
Well, that's your cake, yes. And it sounds like you put your feelings in there too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your view of the world, your perspective, that is so important. So important.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's take a brief break, my friend, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Hello, I am Michael Anthony Ingram. I am here with Derrick Davis. Derrick, got a question for you. All right, you ready? All right. All right. When people read your work, what do you want them to get, GET, from your poems? What do you want them to discover from your writing? What do you want them to find out?
One of the members from the church that I attend, she purchased the book, and she told me she enjoyed it. And she said, I feel like I know you a little better. And I think that you know, when I was writing, released it, that thought wasn't on my mind, but when she said that to me, that, kind of resonated with me, to know me, So when I go back to glory, that it's something that's left behind to for the people to know who I am and who I was in this physical form.
All right, I like that. You're leaving your legacy behind through your poetry. One of your legacies behind through your poetry.
Yes, sir.
Now, has a poem you've written ever humbled or frightened you?
Well, the writer's block part of it humbled me.
Okay, all right, talk about it.
Because every poem, don't just flow just easy. It's truly a labor of love. That you have to love what you're doing, and sometimes you have to treat it like a puzzle and make the pieces fit. And you can't force it. If a piece don't fit, it don't fit. You have to find the right piece. And but sometimes those poems turn out to be some of the most powerful poems that I've written. And so it was worth the fight, the struggle, to find the right, to find the right words, where to take it. And
yes,
I want to find sometimes the idea, to me, I get so excited about the idea till I want the lyrics to give the idea justice. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to have a great idea and then put average lyrics. And
right.
Yeah.
I understand.
So sometimes, yeah. So sometimes I have to take the extra work.
Okay. Well, please share another poem, man. Please share another poem. I like hearing your voice. I like hearing your words.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm going to try one more. This one is called God is Love. God is love is a scripture that I think as a way to commune with the one above. It's a means of respect for its people to connect. It's impossible to fellowship if your heart is not equipped with love. But now, God has revealed to me a new aspect of the text. God is love, even when dealing with the opposite sex. If God is love, then they share the same traits. And just maybe it takes understanding God to eliminate heartbreak and its ability to frustrate a loving heart to turn to hate. Like God, love operates in predestined fate, but yet still it takes someone to initiate love. The Bible says we love him because he first loved us. And in order to initiate love, you first have to trust. Like with God, with love, you have to believe to receive, and you have to learn to discern who's really concerned. Great is the ache of a lonely heart, but it will pass. However, what will last is strife of life when you pick the type that ain't right. Many get used when they confuse love with sex. Why marvel a broken heart when you put the horse behind the cart? If God is love, then how can a woman or a man understand love and not know God? Who can nurture a heart to virtue? A heart that's void of God only seeks to satisfy the lust of the flesh, and it causes them to become selfish. But a heart full of God is selfless, and a selfless love is precious, it's patient and kind. It's always there to bear the test of time. Love can confide with nothing to hide. It doesn't focus on blame. Love will cover your shame. It only wants to ease the pain. It will inflame a burning passion, and you'll make it feel the same. So when love seems too hard to obtain, or your relationship is under a lot of strain, recognize the source location of inspiration comes from above. Study God to understand matters of the heart, for God is love. The end.
Wow. God is love. You know, Derrick, so much is happening in our world. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. So much is happening. So much is happening. What do you view as being the role of a poet in modern-day society? What's our role?
To me, I think it's to show the world itself, to heal the world of its ailments, and to influence others to try to make a better way.
I'm sitting here, I'm just thinking about what you shared. Influence others to make a better way. Sometimes that's so hard, man. People don't often think about poets. They really don't. So how can we get the word out there to let them know what we do?
Just to share our work, to share our platforms, to support one another, to encourage one another, to because that's how the secular do it. Jesus told a parable. At the end of the parable, he said that the children of the dark is wiser than the children of the light. I'm not gonna go to the whole parable because that takes time. But in the parable, he was talking about somebody wicked that was in trouble, and so when the person was in trouble, even though he was wicked, he was wise enough to know that if he helped a bunch of people, that somebody would help him, even because he knew he was in trouble. And when he was helping a bunch of people, the person he was in trouble with, seeing his wisdom, and gave him another shot. And Jesus, and this paraphrasing, believe me, the Bible ain't saying it like that, but Jesus said that the children of the dark is wiser than the children of the light, because they got a better sense to know that if they help somebody, that somebody will help them.
Yes.
And so as poets, we have to share our platform. We have to encourage one another. We have to invest in one another, and and that's how we grow.
All right. Well, speaking of sharing our platforms, how important to you is it to take part in poetry readings and other live events? Do you do a lot of that?
I've done some. Like I said, I still work and things of that nature. And I'm trying to get back out there to do some more. And I know some fellow poets in Charlotte that do different genres of poetry. I haven't been blessed enough to leave the state quite yet, but that's my goal, is to be able to travel and to do live readings and to go out of state and to be able to, the finances to where I could go and do different readings in different places.
Right. Now, when you write a poem, do you share your work with anyone else before you decide that it's completely finished?
No, sir. I try to give you the finished product. I try to do the finished product.
All right. And also, that's not always easy to do, to share your work with somebody else. I don't like doing it. Yeah. But having someone out there that can look over it, that can give you a fresh slant on what is occurring in the poem, it can be helpful at times. It really can. It really can.
Now, I forgot to say that it slipped my mind, but when I was putting these poems together, I was performing them in my church.
Okay.
Unity and Love in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I was putting feedback on them as I was putting the book together. I haven't showed. I put some of them in the book. I didn't share, but I shared a lot of them that's in the book.
All right. We've reached a part of the program that I really, really enjoy. I view it as being a mini MINI poetry concert. This is where you choose 3 poems and read them back to back, uninterrupted, no questions from me. And at the end, just say thank you, as you've always done, so I'll know not to interrupt your process too soon. So please share with us 3 poems. Derrick Davis, you're on the air. You're on the stage.
All right. Okay. Let's see. This one is the content with the contents of Christ. Back when I was a lost sheep out there in the street doing my own thing, I thought fame and wealth within itself was life's peace. I was concerned only about the surface. I treasured the worth, but now I understand my purpose. My obligation first is to neglect my will. So with the entire contents of Christ, I may be filled, but still, people look at what I don't have. Some sympathize, others laugh. I'm a single man with no kids and no wife. Although the family life seems nice, I'm content with being the bride of Christ. No matter how low my money flow, I can always afford to give a tenner. And still rejoice in the Lord, because the joy of the Lord is my strength. Even in sickness I will witness. Even in poverty I will speak of your sovereignty, no matter what it is. If it don't come from God, I don't want it in my life. I'm content only with the content of Christ. That's the end.
All right.
And
you got another one?
This one, I got some. They kind of long. They're getting kind of long now, and It's been,
Okay, well, what we'll do, we'll save that for your last piece. How does that sound? That's the last one you'll share tonight as we end our journey together. What I want to know is, before we go, is do you think you were meant to be a poet or a writer
yes,
or a lyricist?
Well, I like to consider myself a writer. I like to consider myself a writer. You know, that way, that, you know, more of an umbrella type thing than to the one genre. I mean, one thing. You know, that gives me the freedom to do other things as far as different styles of writing. So I consider myself a writer. And poet is just one section of that.
Okay. Do you think you were meant to be a writer?
Yes.
Tell me more. Tell me why.
It's my gift. It's my gift. It's what is what I enjoy doing. It's what I'm meant to do. I don't want to. I mean, that's what I. You know, if I had it to where I could just do one thing, and that would be it. It would be right, and that's what I would do.
All right. What surprises you about being a writer?
Just where it takes you, what could come from it, the effect that it have on people. Mostly the effect that it has on people. And that's probably the biggest thing, the effect that it has.
You know, the works that you shared in the poetry concert, I really enjoyed listening to them. It just made me think about my own life and the good, like I said again, the good, the bad, and the ugly that I experienced. So I'm glad you write, man. I really am. I'm glad you're out there. So at this time, I'd like to turn the program back over to you for your last piece, and then we'll conclude our journey together. All right. Everyone, Derrick Davis. All right, sir.
All right, thank you. I like to do this one last piece, and it is called "Letting Things Go." The innocence of a child, free from any blemishes of being vile, is how we all came. But what's a shame is how we allow the actions of someone foul to make our personalities change. You don't even know or have a clue how your power to people who are not even that powerful. Conflict constricts you pen with not much to gain, because you can only grow to the extent that you let things go. How would you feel if someone borrowed your car and didn't replace the gas? Or better still, brought it back with the front end smashed. In life, we learn to return things in the condition they were given. Don't you realize God has the same concern about the lives we are living? Everyone knows when you borrow any article of clothes, the owner is going to want you to clean it as well as it was the last time they had seen it. Well, God wants you to clean your life with the blood of Christ. But even when you repent, though, to be cleansed of your sins, you have to sow forgiveness, because you know God's grace only flows to the extent that you let things go. The same way our hearts have to return to God clean, we have to do our best for His investment, which is our dream. You were seeded with talents and gifts inside your soul. What you envision have been given as your purpose for living. You need it to be completed and feel whole. Most never notice how a grudge make them lose focus of their goal. You're on a path of wasting all you have on your wrath and indignation. A vendetta is a vicious cycle that might go on forever. When pride abides on both sides of a feud, indeed it can feed a bad attitude like food. It never ends. No one wins with revenge being ruthless and fruitless. The harvest is there. The same way God sowed seed, the devil sowed tear. Beware the devil weed choke the seed. Now you become bitter in despair, considering what could have been, complaining about how life isn't fair. All you invested in revenge, the first to apologize, win. Give your soul a clean and make amends. That's why God say vengeance is mine, because those burdens aren't deserving of your time. He got a destiny for you to see, but you will never go beyond the extent that you let things go. That's the end. I'm sorry. That's the end.
That's all right. That was fantastic, man. It was fantastic. You know, if you had to convince someone to purchase Seedtime and Harvest Volume 1, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that that is something in this book that is for them. It's something in this book that is for their spouse. It's something in this book that is for their child. It's something in this book that is for their ministry. It's encouraging. And it's going to help them with their journey. It's a segue to the Bible. You know, it's an easy read. It's a light read. The book is not too thick. You know, it's I think writing this one, I think all of them will be, you know, it will have a good number of poems in there, but it won't be too thick because you don't have to be a voracious reader or an avid reader to enjoy this book. You can just, even people who don't really read a lot of books will love this book because it's not going to take them forever to finish. But they're going to and enjoy it.
All right. Very nice. Man, you maybe want to go out and buy 100 copies, man. Because just listening to you.
It's available. Yes, sir.
Well, that's my next question. That's my next question. Where is your book available?
It's available in both paperback and ebook. All you have to do is go on your search engine, type Seedtime Harvest Volume 1, Derrick Davis in your search engine. It'll post up websites. It's at the bookstores, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, Russell Books, all living, you know, on their website.
Amazon. I found it on Amazon.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Kindle, Apple Books. So once you go onto your search engine and your on your phone or your computer, you can find it pretty much. It's a plethora of places you can purchase books.
Right. Now, you've written how many books at this point?
This is the first one.
This is the first one. I thought I read something differently somewhere because your name is mentioned a number of times on Amazon, so I was wondering. Maybe All right, so I'm surprised, man.
Derrick Davis is a common. Yeah, it's a common name.
No, it was your name.
Okay.
It was your name, Derrick Davis. Well, nobody else's name. It was your name. It was your name.
The book was published by Christian Faith Publishing, and
okay.
They put it in. They are distributed by Ingram Books,
Mm-hmm.
and so Ingram Books is like one of the largest
yes.
distributors of books, and so it's that's why I say it's available it's available pretty much everywhere, you know, all over the country, internationally. You know, it's only in English, but you can purchase it in a Spanish country, purchase it in a Oriental country, in the UK. It's out there. So,
all right.
All right.
Well,
Seedtime and Harvest, Volume 1. And God will, it counts.
Okay, because you know I'm going to get on your page to find out whether it was more than one book. You know that, don't you? and I'm on your page right now. You're right. It was only one book. Good thing, good thing we didn't bet no money on it.
Yeah.
Well, hey. All right.
And I'm on Instagram, Dark 77 Cloud. I'm on Facebook, Dark Cloud, aka Derrick Davis on Facebook. You know, they can look me up on those pages and add me, like my page. Reach out, let me know what you think, you know, about the poem. Send reviews about the poems. I like to, you know, get reviews and stuff like that to get it out there. I think I have something for the people that's a blessing. My prayer is that my poetry will edify God's people and glorify God's name.
Mm. What's next for you? Where do you go from here? What's next for you creatively?
Creatively, right now, I'm working on Volume 2, and I'm just taking the time. God gave me a lot of ideas. I'm trying to balance my schedule to where I can, you know, work and write and do all of that, and that's where I'm at now. And creatively, I'm also trying to be creative with marketing and stuff like that because, you know, the gift is writing, you know, but you know, the gift ain't really selling. It ain't really selling and marketing and stuff like that. So that, and the strategies and stuff like that. So that part of the learning experience for me. And that's, you know, that's what I'm trying to do now is learn that. And this is the first interview I've done.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so
stop here first. All right.
It's new. It's a new experience. You know, I was misunderstanding of how this thing was going to work. You know. And I enjoyed it, you know, but it was just the first time for me. I didn't know. That's why I was like, are we still talking today? Are we still doing the interview? You know, because I was, you know, it was the first time jitters, nervous.
Well, you did great. You did fantastic, and you won't come across another show like this one. So, you started with the best, my friend.
Yes, sir.
If I must say so myself, and I do.
Yeah, I like to stay in touch, and hopefully
I'd like that very much. Since we're both from North Carolina, I'd like that very much. I really would.
Yes,
I really would.
Yes,
all right. Well, thank you, man. I wish you nothing but the best Seedtime and Harvest Volume 1, everybody. Purchase the book. Support Derrick Davis. And you'll learn something as well. That's the most important thing. You'll learn something. You'll pick up something new. Maybe you hadn't thought about it. So purchase this book. And Derrick, I commend you for writing it, because that's huge in itself, to step out on faith and put together a book and publish it. Not just think about publishing it, actually doing it. That's not easy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
it's
sir.
Not easy. It's not easy.
Especially putting yourself out there.
Yes, very much so. Because it's your soul, it makes you feel vulnerable, all those things.
Yes, sir.
But if you've got a word to share, share it.
Thank you, sir. And I thank you for this opportunity. It didn't come easy. I asked a lot of people, and a lot of people ignored me, and I thank you for reaching back to me. I really do. And I thank you for having me on your show. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad you did. And when you write Volume 2, just send me a message, and we'll do it again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
I like that very much. All right, then, good people. Out there in listener land, I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight. Derrick Davis, star of the hour. Give him your support. And as I share with you every time I host this program, let poetry ring somewhere throughout the land. Good night, everyone. Take care. Good night, Derrick.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Quintessential Listening, Poetry Online Radio, is available on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. You can also check out the website at QLPOR.com.